As I travel around the country and around the world and talk to people, I sense that at this point there is a significant change in the way consumers, individuals, citizens are starting to view privacy. They're starting to adopt the European mindset where privacy is a right, and companies really need to respect their privacy and respect their rights with regard to the data they're collecting. They may continue to share a lot of information with certain companies, but they're getting much more attuned to some of the abuses that are happening, and how companies are building, very extensive personal profiles on them. Here we are in September 2018, and it's amazing how much the global privacy landscape has changed this year, with GDPR passing in May. Who'd have thought that California would sign a new data privacy law into effect 1 month later in June? We have 5 or 6 other states with privacy legislation in the works. There's a lot of discussion in Washington, D.C. about national privacy legislation or guidance. We have GDPR-like requirements being adopted across the world, from Japan to Canada to Argentina. Other privacy efforts going on in countries like India. There's clearly been a sea change in the view on privacy. With this web of new global laws and regulations, there are a number of elements that are common across all of them that we need to address. Data governance. We need to have a much better handle on our personal data, where it resides, which systems it's stored in, which vendors are used, how the data flows, how we manage it. Without that, we're going to have major challenges dealing with the uptick of data access requests and data deletion requests. And those, consumers are getting much more savvy. In Europe, we've seen high statistics in terms of the number of access requests that are happening. From a security and compliance perspective, with GDPR and others, we've got a 72-hour requirement for reporting incidents to our regulators. So that gives us absolutely no time to think about how we're going to handle it. We need to immediately jump in and start our process to do our investigation of what happened, contain it, work with legal counsel, work with communications, and respond to our regulators. Because we don't want to paint a bullseye on our back by mishandling how we communicate to those regulators. Privacy and security compliance. Some companies do an exceptional job with that. They've got a strong CISO, they've got a strong chief privacy officer. They have great processes and procedures and standards. People take it very seriously and follow it. Other companies aren't there yet. Maybe they have the best intentions, but they just don't have the discipline there or the resources they need. And working with many high-growth companies across the world over the past 20 years, I've always taken a very practical approach to security, privacy, and compliance. It's essential that you put a strong foundation in place to address all the basics that are going to apply regardless of the law, regulation, or standard. And then that puts you in a good position to deal with additional customer requirements, the incremental requirements of the next regulation, and so on. With GDPR and the wave of new laws and regulations on the privacy front, and increased focus on cybersecurity, now more than ever, if you don't already have it in place, now's the time to put that foundation in place. If you put that strong foundation in place, then it's much easier to deal with the next regulation that comes along, or the next standard, or the next customer requirement, where you're doing the basics that you're going to have to do regardless, and then you can deal with the hopefully small incremental requirements of that particular item. At Lundin & Company, that's what we focus on. We help high-growth companies put the right security and privacy practices in place to have a good program so you're able to address your customers' requirements and build for the future.